Hello, everyone. A very good morning. We will continue today's session by taking up chapter 3. In yesterday's session, if you remember, we had completed chapter 1 and chapter 2, correct? That is ratios, proportions, indices, and logarithms. And then we also did equations. In the topic of equations, I had actually given you 2 homework questions. I had explained how to solve it. I had given it as homework to you all. So before we commence with chapter 3, we'll quickly go through the homework, all right? And then we can start with chapter 3. I hope you have solved the homework. And I wish to see the answers that you have got on the chat box. I'm just sharing the screen. Give me a minute. Yes. So I had given you the homework as question number 6 of equations, where you had to find the value of alpha square by beta plus beta square by alpha. So we had taken the common denominator as alpha beta, and we had got the numerator as alpha cube plus beta cube, for which I had asked you to substitute the identity alpha plus beta the whole cube, that is a plus b the whole cube. All right. So by substituting it, we got the value of alpha cube plus beta cube as alpha plus beta the whole cube minus 3 alpha beta into alpha plus beta. Here it is. Okay. And we also have got the values of alpha plus beta as minus b by a, that is minus 7, and alpha into beta as c by a, that is 12. Now, substituting the values of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta here, substituting the values of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta, we'll get minus 7 whole to the power 3, correct? Minus 3 into 12 into minus 7 whole divided by 12. And by simplifying this, you will get the answer as minus 91 by 12. All right. So once you simplify it, what do you get? You get the value as minus 91 by 12. This is your final answer. Okay. And next, I had given you another homework, that is question number 8. I had explained how to solve it. I had also explained it with the help of a option in the question. So in option A, we had taken up the value of x as 1. Okay. Similarly, since 1 satisfied, we went to the next part of the same option, that is minus 1. We substituted the value of x as minus 1. And if you can observe here, minus 1 whole cube plus 9 into minus 1 the whole square, minus of minus 1 minus 9, the value will be equal to 0. Similarly, when you substitute the value of x as minus 9, also the value is going to be equal to 0. All right. Yes. So this is how we got the answer as option A. I hope you're there on the live chat, and I want responses from your side, please. Yes, if you could give me the answers, that would be great. Okay. Yes. Moving on. We shall start with chapter 3, that is linear inequalities. Now, first of all, what is an inequality? What do you understand by inequality? Before we get into inequality, remember in yesterday's class, I had explained it to you. Remember in yesterday's class, I had explained it to you as to what is equality, right? When left-hand side is equal to right-hand side, we call it equal to each other, right? When left-hand side is equal to right-hand side, we call it as equal to each other. So now what is this inequality? What is inequality? So inequality comes into picture when the left-hand side and right-hand side are not equal to each other. That means it can be less than or it can be greater than, or it can be less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. When you cannot always say they are equal to each other, that is where inequality comes into picture. That means when left hand side and right hand side are not equal to each other, they may be greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. This is what is called inequality. Okay? Yes. All right. So now important topics here for this particular topic. First one would be, first we would understand how to solve inequalities. That means how to get the value of x. How to get the value of x when there is an inequality. We know how to do it when there is equality, which we saw under simple equations. Now we are going to see how to get the value of x when there is an inequality. Let us take a few examples and understand this. Okay. So first example here we have is 2x minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. We are finding the value of x. Okay. So first step would be to shift this minus 6 to the other side. By shifting this minus 6 to the other side, what do you get? You get the value of 2x as greater than or equal to 6. Am I right? You get the value of 2x as greater than or equal to 6. Now step 2 would be shifting this 2, which is multiplied with x. 2 is multiplied with x on the left hand side. So when you shift it to the other side, it becomes divided by. Yes. So we get x is greater than or equal to 6 by 12, which gives us the value of x being greater than or equal to 3. Now what is this greater than or equal to 3? We saw is equal to 3 in inequality, correct? If it is equal to 3, we know that the value of x is 3, right? But what is this greater than or equal to 3? Greater than or equal to 3 means any value starting from 3. Any value starting from 3 and greater than 3. Any value starting from 3 and greater than 3, which means 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on till infinity. Now, when I say infinity, it means plus infinity, because anything greater than 3 should amount to plus infinity. So, which means the values of x start from 3 up to plus infinity. This is how you denote it. Moving on to the next example. If you observe, it's similar to the previous one, but the only change is the sign, that is the inequality. In the first question, it was greater than, greater than or equal to. In the second question, it is less than or equal to. So if you solve this, you'll get 2x greater than or equal to 6, which means x greater than or equal to, 2x less than or equal to 6, which means x is less than or equal to 3. Now, what is this less than or equal to 3? Less than or equal to 3 means any value starting from minus infinity to 3. Okay? Any value starting from minus infinity to 3, because the value of x is less than or equal to 3. Something that is less than or equal to 3 means 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, and so on up to minus infinity. So how do you denote this? You will write this as minus infinity, comma 3. So when you write the values of x with respect to an inequality, it is always the smaller value followed by the larger value. And I hope that you know minus infinity is lesser than 3. All right. Now moving on to the next example that we have. Now here we have again 2x greater than or equal to minus 6, which means x is greater than or equal to minus 3. Correct? X is greater than or equal to minus 3, which means the values of x start from 3 and go up to infinity, that is plus infinity. So what do you get? You get minus 3, comma infinity. Okay. Now moving on to the next one, where you have 2x less than or equal to minus 6. Yes. So you get x less than or equal to minus 3, which means the values of x start from minus infinity until minus 3. I hope this is clear. Yes. And many of the times a simple question of this particular sort, that is solving inequalities, has been asked in the exam. And as you all know, this particular topic is usually asked for 1 mark, correct? And many of the times I've seen a question being asked to solve an inequality. Okay. Yes. Now moving on to the next one. Okay. So what do we have here? We have here minus 2x plus 6 greater than or equal to 0, right? Minus 2x plus 6 greater than or equal to 0. Now, the easiest way here would be to shift this minus 2x to the other side, right? Till now, we were shifting the constants. But right now, the easiest way would be to shift the minus 2x to the other side. So what do you get? 6 greater than or equal to 2x, correct? So 6 by 2, that is 3 greater than or equal to x, which means x is lesser than or equal to 3. Okay, this is one method of solving this. But hadn't you not shifted the minus 2x and had you shifted the minus plus 6 to the other side, you would have got minus 2x greater than or equal to minus 6. Okay. Now, one important aspect to understand here is if left hand side and right hand side are equal to each other, that is equality. Okay. If left hand side and right hand side are equal to each other, then you can cancel the minus signs as it is. But since here it is an inequality, you cannot cancel the minus signs like you would do under equality. Okay, like you would do under equation. So what is required here? Here, when you cancel the minus signs, that is common minus signs on both the sides, you need to reverse the sign in between. What is this reversing the sign in between? Now, here, when you cancel the minus sign, this greater than or equal to becomes lesser than or equal to, which means 2x is lesser than or equal to 6. That gives us x lesser than or equal to 3, which is the same answer that we have got over here by when we shift the minus 2 to the other side. I hope this is clear. Yes? Okay. There is another way to solve this. Now, what is that if you ask? See, if you have minus 2x greater than or equal to minus 6. Okay, this is what you have. Minus 2x greater than or equal to minus 6. Now, you can shift this minus 2 to the denominator on the right hand side, correct? But because you're shifting a minus sign either by multiplication or by division, remember this, either by multiplication or by division. Right now we are dividing it, correct? When you shift a minus sign from one side of the inequality to the other, either by multiplication or by division, the sign in between will reverse. What happens to the sign in between? The sign in between will reverse. All right. So here, when you take this minus 2 to the other side, that is when you divide minus 2, you get x lesser than or equal to minus 6 by minus 2. Minus gets cancelled. So you get the value of x as lesser than or equal to 3. All right. So however you solve it, doesn't matter. What is important is the answer should remain the same, correct? In all the three cases, in all the three different ways that we have solved, the answer had remained the same. All right. Yes. So this is very important to understand. What you need to take away from here is the different ways of solving, but answer will always remain the same. I hope this is clear. I hope the first concept is clear. Now, if it is clear, can you please solve question example F? Okay. Please solve example F and kindly drop the answers in the chat box. You can also solve example G. Okay. You can solve F and G. I'll solve it simultaneously. Please do not copy it from here. Do it on your own so that you get to know how to solve it. You have a practice. Yes. I'm waiting for your answers. You can just give me the value. Or you can just write x greater than or x less than, whatever is the value, because I know it's difficult to type greater than, less than in your phones. Kindly drop the answers. I'm waiting for your answers. Yes. Is this what you get? X lesser than or equal to minus 3. Correct? Yes. And what about the example G? What about example G? Can we shift this? Or if you want to do it in the other way, keep it as it is. Shift minus 6 to the other side, which makes it minus 6. Now cancel the minus signs on both the sides. You will get x less than or equal to 6. X by 2 less than or equal to 6. Now shift this 2, multiply it with 6. You will get x less than or equal to 12. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear. Yes, with this we are done with the first concept. Next one, we'll go to the linear programming problems. Now what happens in linear programming problems is, firstly, they'll give you a yes, Pratiksha, correct answer, 12. Yes. All right. Yes. Okay, good. All right, next one, that is linear programming problems. So what happens in linear programming problems is, first they'll give you a big description. All right. So by using this description, what you need to do is you need to formulate a linear inequality. Okay. Usually the linear inequality will be in two variables, x and y. They would also mention what is x and what is y. What do you need to consider as x and what do you need to consider as y in the question. Okay. Now let us read the example and try to understand how to solve these linear programming problems. I consider this to be one of the most easiest. 1 minute, there is a doubt. While shifting, y inequality not changing? Which one? Which question? Which question are you talking about? Is it example G? If it is example G, then you have to understand here that when you shift 2, it is a positive number. Okay? It is a positive number. So when you shift 2 and multiply it with 6, since it is a positive number, the inequality will not change. All right? But if it is a negative number, if it is minus 2 there, only then the inequality would change. So what you need to understand here is the inequality will change only when you multiply a negative value from one side to the other. That is when you shift a negative value from one side to the other, either by multiplication or by division. Okay, I hope this is clear. Yes, like I was telling, with respect to linear programming problems, you will be given the inequality in the options. Okay, let's quickly read the question and understand what are the values given and what constraints are there in this particular question. Okay, now, first of all, what is given? A company wants to purchase units of machine A and machine B. Okay, that means there are two types of machines, A and B. The cost of 1 unit of machine A is 12,000 and machine B is 18,000. Okay. 1 unit of A is 12,000 and that of B is 18,000. All right. The total amount available with the company to purchase the two types of machines is rupees 5 lakhs. Okay, important because it's value. So values are important here. The company has a maximum capacity to store 30 machines. Okay. Consider X as number of units of machine A and Y as number of units of machine B. Formulate. Okay. Now, we know that there is X and Y. Okay. First thing, we have to recognize what is a constraint here. Now, when I say constraint, it means when you can utilize the maximum of it or minimum of it. For example, here, the first constraint that I will talk about is the total amount available. Correct? The total amount available. Because it has been said in the question that the total amount available is 5 lakhs. Okay. Now let us understand this with a basic example. If your parent gives you 100 rupees today as pocket money to spend, okay? 100 rupees is given to you today as pocket money. Now, is it possible for you to spend more than 100? Definitely not. But can you spend less than 100? Yes, you can. You can save, correct? Can you spend a value equal to 100? Of course, yes, correct? So, when you have 5 lakh rupees with you, when a company has 5 lakh rupees, can I say the maximum that you can spend is 5 lakh? Yes. So, you can spend a value up to 5 lakhs. When I say up to 5 lakhs, can I say we use the inequality lesser than or equal to? Because the company can spend an amount 4 lakh 30 or 4 lakh 90 up to 5 lakhs, but it cannot exceed 5 lakhs. Is this clear? Yes. Now, there is another constraint given in the question. What is that? It has been told that there is a maximum capacity to store 30 units or 30 machines. Correct? So, maximum machines is 30. Maximum is 30. Now, if the maximum is 30, can I store 31 machines? Is it possible for me to store 31 machines? Definitely not. So more than 30 is not possible. Is it possible to store 30 machines? Yes. Is it possible to store less than 30? Of course, yes. So can I say the other constraint with respect to machines, that is maximum machines, is less than or equal to 30. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now these two are the constraints. Now these two should be represented using X and Y. So here, the total number of machines that can be stored is 30. Up to 30. The total number of machines that can be stored is up to 30. So can I say this will be represented as X plus Y less than or equal to 30? Because X means number of units of machine A and Y is number of units of machine B. So X plus Y less than or equal to 30. And each unit of X is costing us rupees 12,000, whereas each unit of Y is costing us rupees 18,000. So can I say the total amount that you can spend is 12,000 X plus 18,000 Y. 12,000 X plus 18,000 Y, which should be less than or equal to 5 lakhs. These are our two constraints. Okay. Now, very important to realize here is that we are talking about units, which means quantity, right? So when we talk about units, that is quantity, okay? When you talk about units, that is quantity, the values cannot be lesser than 0, okay? You cannot say, I've purchased -5 machines. It doesn't sound right. It is not correct, correct? So you can say I have purchased 0 machines, or you can say I've purchased 10 machines or 20 machines. But using negative values with respect to quantity does not hold good, right? So here it's important for us to realize that the value of X should be greater than or equal to 0, as well as the value of Y should be greater than or equal to 0. All right. Now in the examination, All this will be given in the options. Okay, you just have to verify which is the correct option. Okay, I hope this is clear. We can go to the next one, which is interpretation of graphical representation. The first thing here that you need to know is you don't have to draw a graph. Either the graph will be given in the question or the graph will be given in the option. So your ultimately drawing a graph is not your concern, but representing, interpreting the graph is very, very important here. All right. So now here, interpretation of graphical representation. First of all, we need to understand there are 4 parts in a graph. First quadrant, second quadrant, third and fourth quadrant. How do you get this 4 parts? We divide one horizontal line by a vertical line and we get the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis, and y-axis, which is the vertical axis. Okay, and like I have mentioned it on the graph here, these are the points where x and y meet. That is called the point of origin, which is represented as 0, 0. In the first quadrant, both the values of x and y are positive. Second quadrant, x is negative, y is positive. Third quadrant, both are negative, and in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. This is your graph. Okay, now to understand this, let's take an example. So we have an inequality, 2x plus 3y is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, our first step, whenever you have to represent an inequality on the graph, our first step is to convert the inequality to equality. Okay, convert the inequality to equality. Why do we do that? Because only when we have an equation is when you can represent a line on the graph. Only when you have an equation is when you can represent the line on the graph. And once you represent the line on the graph, we can represent the inequality. Okay. Second step is to consider values for, assume value for x and find the value of y, and similarly assume a value for y and find the value of x. So let us say x is 0. If x is 0, the value of y would be 2. Correct? Yes. And if y is 0, the value of x would be, right? Is this clear till here? Any doubts until now? All right, I'll go to the next part here. So we have 2 coordinates here. All right. The first coordinate, let's say A is 0, 2, and the second coordinate is 3, 0. Now remember, you cannot change the order. Okay, you cannot change the order. If you change the order, you'll go wrong. So it's always x followed by y. It is always x followed by y. Okay. So these are your 2 coordinates. Now these 2 coordinates should be marked on the graph. These 2 coordinates are required to be marked on the graph. Once you mark these coordinates on the graph, you will get a line, and that line represents 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Okay. Now, here we have first point, that is 0, 2. Okay. We have the first point, that is 0, 2, and we have another point, that is 3, 0. 0, 2. X value is 0. Y value is 2, which means we'll mark it on the y-axis. Next coordinate that we have is 3, 0, which means the value of x is 3 and that of y is 0, which will be marked on the x-axis. Okay. Now, your next step is to join these 2 points. And you can extend it, of course. Join the 2 points and extend it. Now, once you join these 2 points and extend it, this is what is 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Okay. So this line represents 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. I hope it's clear till here. But we are not done, because what we need is greater than or equal to 6. So which area is correct? Which area is correct? Is it this area that I've shaded with yellow? Or is it the other area that I've shaded with gray? Okay, that is what we need to realize. That is what we need to understand. Which area is correct? Method 1, which is applicable to all the questions. All the questions. Any question that you take where you have to represent graphically, method 1. Okay, pick a point. Any point. I would suggest you to pick a point where you're clear. Okay, this falls in the yellow area or this falls in the gray area. Okay, I'll pick a point 3, 3, which falls in the gray area. Okay, 3, 3, which falls somewhere over here. Okay, so pick the point 3, 3. I've picked the point 3, 3. Now substitute this 3, okay, good. I've been getting answers that gray area is the answer. Yes, let's see. All right, let's wait for 2 minutes. Let me explain. Good. So pick a point 3, 3. All right. So now substitute this in the inequality. You'll get 2 into 3 plus 3 into 3 greater than or equal to 6. 2 into 3 is 6. 3 into 3 is 9 greater than or equal to 6. 15 is greater than or equal to 6. Now, is this mathematically correct? Is 15 greater than 6? Yes. Which means it is mathematically correct, which tells us that the answer is gray area. If you pick a point from the yellow area, it will not satisfy the inequality. Let us check. So let us take point 1, 1. So you have 2 into 3 plus 3 into 3 greater than or equal to 6. Sorry, 2 into 1. I'm sorry. It's 2 into 1 plus 3 into 1. So you get 5 is greater than or equal to 6. Can I say this is incorrect mathematically or mathematically incorrect? Yes. Am I right? It is mathematically incorrect, which means the shaded area is the other side. That is not the yellow area. It is the gray area. Okay. This is how you can solve for every question. Great. Neha, Pratiksha and Meghna. Great. Correct answers. Gray area is your correct answer. I hope this is clear. Now, there's a shortcut here. Okay. First, I taught you the long method of how to solve. Now, let us understand the shortcut. Now, what is this shortcut? First thing, shortcut is applicable. Shortcut is applicable. One main thing to understand here. Shortcut is applicable only when the line is not passing through the origin. What is it? The line is not passing through the origin. Now, what is this line is not passing through the origin? If you ask, now if this is your graph, adjust with the graph, it's a little not okay. Yes, if this is your graph, correct? Now here, can I say your line is passing through 0, 0? Correct? So when it is passing through 0, 0, the shortcut is not applicable, which means the shortcut is applicable only when the line is not passing through the origin. Is this clear? Okay. So now what happens? When the line is not passing through the origin, okay? When the line is not passing through the origin like this question, and the inequality is greater than or equal to, then the shaded area would be away from the origin. What is away from the origin? Away from the origin is nothing but your gray area. See this, is it going towards the origin? No. This gray area is going away from the origin. All right. So this is your shaded area. Okay. Now what happens if the inequality is lesser than or equal to? Now if the inequality is lesser than or equal to, then the shaded area will be towards the origin. That means it should come towards 0. Okay. So it's away and towards. Is this clear? Yes, I hope this is clear. We can go with the questions. We have a few questions here which we can quickly solve so that we can start with the next chapter, that is time value of money. Okay. Question number 1 would be the solution of the set of inequalities 2x plus x plus 2 greater than 0 and 2x minus 6 greater than 0. Yes, I'll give you time to solve. Quickly do this and drop the options in the chat box, please. So this has been asked in quite a few attempts. It has been asked in the June 19 attempt and a few attempts also. Similar question. I won't say the same copy-paste question was asked, but similar category question was asked. Quickly solve this and give me the answers in the chat box, please. Option A, B, C, D. Which one is it? If two inequalities are there, it means the answer should satisfy both. All right? The answer should satisfy both. Option A, option B. Okay. There's a small change that you need to make here. Okay. It is greater than or equal to. All right. The second one is greater than or equal to. So here you get x greater than or equal to 3. Okay. Now, first things first. If first one, we got, what did we get? X is greater than minus 2, correct? X is greater than minus 2. And the second one we got, x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay. If x is greater than minus 2, then can I say the value start from minus 2 and end at infinity? Yes. And if x is greater than 3, then the value start at 3 and end at infinity. This is clear? But you have to choose a common option. Common option which satisfies both. Okay. If x is minus 2 up to infinity, will it satisfy for the second equation? No. Because in the second equation, the value of x starts from 3. If I consider option B, that is 3 comma infinity, will it satisfy option example 1? Sorry, will it satisfy the equation in equation 1? Yes, it would. Because if it is greater than minus 2, if it is greater than minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So here your answer is option B. All right. I hope this is clear. Yes, very good. Yes, good. Quite a few of them have answered. Great. Yes, let's go to the next question now. If there's any doubts, kindly drop it on the chat box so that you don't carry your doubts once the classes are done. Please. Yes, next question. A company manufactures cars of two types, A and B. A requires 150 man-hours for assembling, 50 man-hours for painting, and 10 man-hours for testing. B requires 60 man-hours for assembling, 40 man-hours for painting, and 20 man-hours for testing. There are 30,000 man-hours available for assembling, 13,000 for painting, and 5,000 for testing. Okay, now can I say man-hours is the constraint here? Why man-hours is the constraint? Because if 30,000 man-hours are available, can you utilize more than 30? No. For example, if you have 24 hours in a day, can you utilize 25 hours? First, you utilize 24 properly, right? Yes. So can you utilize 25 hours? No, not possible. So that is what, when man hours are given, the maximum is 30,000 or 13,000 or 5,000 as the case may be. Okay, so can I say maximum is 30,000, so you can utilize lesser than or equal to 30,000 or 13,000 or 5,000. Okay, so what is the constraint here? The man hours, which is given as 30,000, 13,000 and 5,000. And the inequality is lesser than. Okay. Now, product A and product B, that is model A and model B, both require man hours of assembling, painting and testing. Yes? Okay. How many man hours are required for product A? Assembling is 150. So 150 into X, because it's given X units of A. Plus, what is it for B? It is 60 man hours for assembling, which means 60 into 5. Okay. So 150 into 150 X plus 6 is lesser than or equal to 30,000 is your first constraint. I hope this is clear. Okay. Next constraint is with respect to test. Next constraint is with respect to painting. Okay. So 50 hours for X and how many hours for Y? 40 hours for Y. Okay. Yes. Now next is with respect to testing. Okay. So how many hours for X? That is model A. We need 10 hours for X plus how many hours for Y? 20 hours for Y. I hope this is clear till here. Now very important, since we're talking about units, X should be greater than or equal to 0. Y should also be greater than or equal to 0. All right. Yes. Now, if you observe the options, there is no option as such, but we can simplify the options for us. Now, the first equation can be divided by 30. The second one can be divided by 10. And the third one can also be divided by 10. Correct? So you get 5x plus 2y lesser than or equal to 1,000. Next, 5x plus 4y lesser than or equal to 1,300. And next, x plus 2y lesser than or equal to 500. I hope this is clear. Okay. Be careful. It is not option B. It is option C. Be careful there, because in option B, the third inequality is greater than or equal to. Your answer is option C. Correct. Yes. Okay. I hope this is clear. Moving on, we'll go to the next question. Okay. What you need to find here, you have been given the graph. What you need to find is the inequality that represents the graph. Okay. You need to find the inequality that represents the graph. All right. So how do you solve this? Yes. So how do you get this into picture? How do you solve this is, first of all, what is the first inequality in the option? Let's pick option A. Okay. Let us pick option A. Now it's very evident. It's very evident in this first line. Okay. The shaded area is towards the origin, which means the inequality should be lesser than or equal to. So can I say option C is incorrect? And in the second line, this one, the shaded area is away from the origin, which means the inequality is greater than or equal to. That means if you observe, option B is incorrect. There's only one option that you need to check. If A does not satisfy, then option D, that is none of these, is your answer. All right. So let's pick option A. X1 plus X2 lesser than or equal to 2. X1 is the x-axis and X2 is the y-axis. Okay. Now, if you consider the inequality, okay, see here, you consider X1 plus X2 is equal to 2. If you consider X1 as 0, X2 will be 2. And if you consider X2 as 0, then X1 will be, right? So it is 0, 2 and 2, 0, which is correctly marked on the graph. If you observe, this is 0, 2 and this is 2, 0, which is correctly marked on the graph. And also the inequality is lesser than. So can I say the first inequality satisfies? Come to the second inequality. 2x1 plus 2x2 is greater than or equal to 8. Now you can divide this by 2 and you get x1 plus x2 is greater than or equal to 4. Now in the same manner like you solved the first one, if you take x1 as 0, x2 will be 4. If you take x2 as 0, x1 will be 4. You get the coordinates as 0, 4 and 4, 0 here. And in the question, the shaded area is away from the origin, which means that the inequality is greater than or equal to. Hence, option A being our answer. I hope this is clear. Okay? Yes. Now, let's go to the last question. Okay? The last question could be your homework. Quickly take a picture of this. In the evening session, I will discuss the answer for this. All right. If you have understood how to solve for linear inequalities, that is with graphical representation, you will be able to get the solution of this. Okay. Yes. Now we're done with chapter 3. We'll move on to chapter 4. Yes. Please listen carefully. One of the most important chapters for you from the point of view of examination, correct? Around 14 marks is asked in every attempt. Okay? Yes, out of 40 marks, 14 marks is asked from this chapter. So you know how important it is from you from the exam point of view. All right. First of all, what is this time value of money? What do you understand when I say time value of money? Of course, it is the value of money with respect to time. Okay, that is fine. That is a simple explanation, the basic explanation. Value of money with respect to time. But what has happened to the value of money with respect to time? Okay, to understand this basic concept of value of money with respect to time, let us take a simple example, a day-to-day example that we have. Okay, have you all heard of this chocolate Mentos? I hope you have. Yes. Okay. So this chocolate Mentos, okay. If you remember when you were kids, maybe 10 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, at least when I was a kid, okay. When I was like 10 years or 12 years or something like that. All right. This chocolate Mentos, I would get one chocolate for 50 paise. What is it? I would get one chocolate for 50 paise. Okay. So, for example, if my mom would have given me one rupee, I would have bought 2 Mentos. Okay. This was some 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But if I have to buy the same chocolate today, what is it? If I have to buy the same chocolate today, that is in the present. If I have rupee 1 with me, I can only buy 1 Mentos. What has happened? Oh yes, they have increased the price of the cost of the chocolate. But why? Because with respect to time, okay, what has happened? With respect to time, the value of money has changed. What has happened with respect to time? The value of money has changed. Over a period of time, the value of money is changing. And that is why we say time value of money. That is value of money with respect to time. So what happens to the value of money with respect to time? It keeps changing. For example, excuse me. For example, if you have 1 lakh today, example, okay? Yes, it feels good, no? If you have 1 lakh rupees today in your pocket, will this 1 lakh remain the same after 1 year? Yes, it will remain 1 lakh only, provided you don't spend. It will remain 1 lakh provided you don't spend, correct? It will remain 1 lakh provided you don't spend. But will its value remain the same? Definitely not. Its value is not going to remain the same, which means what you could purchase with 1 lakh today, you might not be able to purchase the same things after a year. Okay. So what are the factors of this change in the value of money? One of the major factor with respect to change in the value of money is, yes, inflation. Correct. I've got the answer, Adil. Very good. Yes, it is inflation. Yes. What is this inflation? Inflation means it is the rise in the cost of commodities or goods. Okay, it's the rise in the cost. All right. Yes. So what happened with respect to 1 year? The value of the goods changed. You might have heard this very famous dialogue from your parents or grandparents. Yes. Or from your uncles and aunts here, that what do you know what I could buy with 5 rupees or 10 rupees at my time? Yes. Today, if anyone gives you 5 rupees, if anyone gives you 5 rupees, you might graciously accept it. But back in your mind, you will think, what can I buy with 5 rupees? Which will I feel happy about it. I remember my dad telling me in his childhood days, like when he was a youngster, like, in his 20s or something like that, if he got 5 rupees, okay, if he gets 5 rupees, he would be the happiest and he would be able to spend it for more than a week. He would watch movies, eat popcorn, okay. Today's time, okay, if you get 5 rupees, it will not even give you anything that you would like to take, correct? Yes. Can you buy anything for 5 rupees? Yes, you can. But will it give you that happiness that you would get 20 years or 30 years ago? I don't think so. So what has happened with respect to what has happened with the value of money? The value of money is keeping changing. All right. Now, what does this affect? This affects the purchasing power of money. Okay. This affects the purchasing power of money. Okay. So purchasing power of money has reduced. What you could buy with the 1 rupee 10 years ago, you will not be able to buy the same thing. Okay. Is this clear till here? This is the basics that you need to understand. Okay. Now there's something called as present value and future value, which we'll need to understand a little later. Okay. This is very important 2 terms that you need to keep it in your mind. Okay. I know you might think it is only applicable in one instance. No, it is applicable in various instances. Okay. So keep these 2 things in mind, present value and future value. Okay. Before we get into the concepts under time value of money, let us first understand a few important terms. Okay. First one, the principal. Now, let us say I deposit 1 lakh into a bank. What am I doing? I'm depositing rupees 1 lakh into a bank. Okay. And I'm depositing this for 1 year. After a year, I will get back 1 lakh 10,000. Okay. This is my example. I am depositing 1 lakh into a bank. After a year, I will get 1 lakh 10,000. Okay. Now, what is this 1 lakh? This 1 lakh is my initial sum of money. 1 lakh is my initial sum of money, which is nothing but the principal. So 1 lakh here is my principal. Okay. Now next one, interest. Interest can be of 2 types, simple interest or compound interest. Now what is this interest? Interest is the additional sum of money, which is over and above the principal. It is something that you get an extra. Why do you get it an extra? Because when you deposit money into a bank, the bank is utilizing your money. Do you think the bank will keep it in its locker? No. The bank is utilizing the money for its business purposes. The bank will give it as a loan to someone. Okay? Yes. So what happens when you deposit money into a bank is you will get interest. Yes, you will be getting interest out of it. That additional sum of money that you get is nothing but your interest. Now see here in my example, you deposited 1 lakh, but what did you get? You got 1 lakh 10,000, right? You got 1 lakh 10,000. This 10,000 is your additional sum, that is your interest. Okay. Next, the balance or accumulated balance, which is denoted with capital A. Okay. It is the total of interest and the principal, which in my example is 1 lakh 10,000. I hope these 3 terms are clear. Now, next 2 terms are very important to understand. Next one being time. Now, time is the period for which the principal is deposited or borrowed. I'm talking from the point of deposit, but it can be you borrowing money also, right? Yes. So now time, it is the period for which the money is deposited or borrowed. Okay. Now, very important to understand here is that when you consider time, it should always be in years. What is this? It should always be in years. Now, if I say, for example, time is 3 years. You have deposited for 3 years. You will consider time as 3. But if I say time is 3 months, time is 3 months. Can you consider it as 3? Of course not. Then how do you consider? You will convert this into years. Okay. So months to convert into years, you will divide it by 12. So it becomes 3 by 12. This is something that is very, very important from the point of view of examination. So whenever months are given in the question, you have to always consider it as divided by 12. This is with respect to time. Okay. Next one is the rate of interest. Now, rate of interest is the percentage at which interest is being calculated. So to calculate the interest, we need 3 things: principal, rate, and time. Principal we know, time we know, we need another thing which is called the rate, because at what percentage will you calculate the interest? Now, very important here is rate will always be given as a percentage. But for us to make it simple in the exam, for the calculation purposes, what we will do is, when we consider the rate, that is, we consider it as R, we will always consider it after dividing by 100. Okay, we will always consider it after dividing it by 100, because that makes it easier for us to solve in the exam. Okay, I hope this is clear till here. Any queries till here? Okay, now one important thing here. Now let's say the rate is given as 12%. Okay, so you will consider R as 0.12. Okay, but I'll change the question a little. Rate is 12% for 3 months. Rate is 12% for 3 months. Okay, for 3 months is given, we know that time is 3 by 12 because we have understood it in the previous value. Now tell me, out of A and B, which one is correct with respect to R? Which of these is correct with respect to R? Quick answers. Can you tell me which is correct? With the first one or the second one? How do you consider the rate? Is it 0.12 or is it 0.03? First or the second? Quick, quick, quick. Is it the first one that you will consider or the second one? What is it? Be attentive. Second one. Okay. Anyone else? All right. 0.03. Okay. Yes. Now, get to know this. Okay. Listen to this very carefully, which is very important from your exam point of view. Now, when you consider the rate, okay, when you consider the rate, you will always consider it as per annum. When you consider the rate, you're always going to consider it per annum. Okay. So, the second one is incorrect. Second one is incorrect. Rate will always be considered per annum. Now, your question might be, but it is for 3 months. No. Yes, that we are considering in time, right? So when we consider it in time, it is taken care of. Okay? If we consider it in time, that is taken care of. Is this clear? Yes. So rate should always be considered as per annum. It is not for 3 months. You will calculate for 3 months because you're taking time as 3 by 12. Is this clear? This is something that is very important from exam point of view. So whenever rate is given, it is always per annum and not for the respective time. Is this clear? Yes? Everyone? The rate of interest will always be given for a year. Is this clear? Okay. Next. Now, what do we need to study in this chapter? First thing, simple interest. Second one, compound interest. And we also have something called as annuity. Now, annuity is not a separate concept. It is under compound interest itself. It's not a separate type of interest. It is under compound interest itself. Okay. What is annuity? Annuity is a concept under compound interest. It's not a separate concept. It's not a separate type of interest. This is first thing. Okay. So whatever we are studying under annuity will be compound interest itself. This is something that you need to register. Okay. All right. So with this thought, let's start with simple interest. Now, what is this simple interest? I've given a very basic example over here. I've taken 1 lakh at 10% for 2 years. Okay. Now, 1 lakh at 10% for 2 years. 1 lakh into 10% for 2 years. So 1 lakh into 0.1 into 1 will be the interest for year 1. 1 lakh into 0.1 into 1 will also be the interest for year 2. Okay, very good. So interest is the same. Why? Because simple interest is calculated on the principal. Why is this? Because simple interest is calculated on the principal. That is why the interest for every year, would remain the same. Okay. Now, I'll do one thing. I'll split this year into 2 parts. First 6 months, that is first month to 6th month, and next 6th month, that is 7th month to 12th month. Now here the calculation is going to be 1 lakh into 0.1 into 6 by 12. Correct? Because it is 6 months. So 6 by 12. See the rate. The rate is 0.1 itself. I have not changed the rate. Time will take into consideration the rate. So what do you get as the interest? You get the interest as 5,000. And in the same manner, when you calculate for the next 6 months also, will get the interest as 5,000. Okay. Cut short to year 2. Year 2 also will remain the same. Okay. What does this mean? What is the important point that we need to carry from here? 1. Interest under simple interest will not change. When will it not change? When the parameters, what is parameters? Principal, rate and time. So, simple interest for any specific interval of time is not going to change, which means the simple interest will remain the same for any specified interval of time. Now, see here, year 1 and year 2, 10,000 and 10,000, correct? Similarly, 6 months, 6 months, first 6 months and next 6 months, everywhere it remained the same. What is the reason behind this? The reason behind this is that the principle is not changing. I hope this is clear. This is the basic that you need to understand when it comes to simple interest. So what happens under simple interest? Under simple interest, the interest remains the same when the parameters do not change. All right. Yes. Okay. So here the total simple interest is 20,000 and the amount, that is the total of principal plus simple interest, is 1,20,000. So under simple interest, the interest will remain the same. Okay. Important things here, formulas that you need to know. First one is the simple interest formula, which is given as P into R into T. The second one is the amount formula. What is amount? Amount is P plus SI, principal plus simple interest, which can also be written as amount is equal to P plus PRT. Now, out of this, P can be taken common. Yes. And when you take P common, you'll get another formula, which is very important from exam point of view, which is A is equal to P into 1 plus RT. Okay. So here, SI means simple interest, P means principal, R is rate of interest divided by 100, T is time, which is always in year, that is number of years. Okay. And A is amount, that is your accumulated balance or balance. I hope this is clear till here. Okay. The note that I've given here is same thing which I've explained some time ago, that simple interest would remain the same for equal periods of time when the parameters do not change. That is year 1 simple interest and year 2 simple interest remain the same. First 6 months simple interest and next 6 months simple interest is remain the same. Is this clear? So if I tell you SI for 1 month is 100 rupees. What is the simple interest for 12 months? If it is 100 rupees for 1 month, then can I say simple interest for 12 months is 100 into 12, that is 1,200, as simple as that. And vice versa. If simple interest for 12 months is 1,200, then what is the simple interest for 1 month? That will be 1,200 by 12. I hope this is clear. All right. Yes, moving on to compound. Okay. So what is the basic difference between simple interest and compound interest? Let us understand with the help of an example. All right. So now here I've given 1 lakh at 10% for 2 years. And I've mentioned that it is annual compounding. Okay. Now what is this annual compounding? First of all, what is compounding? Compounding is the concept or the process where interest gets added to the principal. What is it? Something new, right? What is compounding? It is a process where interest gets added to the principal. All right. Okay. So what happens under compounding? Under compounding, any interest gets added to the principal. But when does it get added? That depends on the nature of compounding. Okay. So what is this annual compounding that I'm talking about? In annual compounding, interest gets added to the principal once a year. Annually. Annual means 1 year. So what happens under annual compounding? Interest gets added to the principal. Okay. So here, if you observe, year 1 we have done same as simple interest. 1 lakh into 0.1 into 1, which is 10,000. And year 2, if you observe carefully, you have done it as 1 lakh 10,000 into 0.1 into 1, which is 11,000. What has changed here? The computation of year 2. Why? Because principal has changed. How has the principal changed? The principal has changed because interest has been added to the principal. When? Once in a year. And if you observe carefully, under simple interest, it was 10,000 and 10,000, making it 20,000. But under compound interest, it is 21,000. I hope this is clear. Okay. So can I say simple interest is less than compound interest? Okay. For now, yes. But wait. Okay. Let's understand this carefully. Okay. Now let us change the nature of compounding. First one we said annual compound. The second one I'm going to say semi-annual. What is the semi-annual compounding? Once in every 6 months. What happens once in every 6 months? Once in every 6 months, interest is added to the principal. All right. Okay. So here you have 1 lakh into 0.1 into 6 by 12, which is 5,000. And if you remember, in simple interest also, you got this as 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, making it 20,000 altogether. Okay. But in compounding, what happens? In compounding, the interest gets added to the principal, which means after 6 months. Why after 6 months? Because it is semi-annual compounding here. This 5,000 will get added to 1 lakh, making it 1 lakh 5,000 into 0.1 into 6 by 12. The total interest is 5250. And the total interest for year 1 is 1,250. Whereas in annual compounding, the total interest was 10,000, not 1,000, 10,250. And here the total interest was 10,000. Okay. Yes. So the interest has changed. Reason, compounding. Yes. Okay. Now, moving on to year 2. Again, the same process will continue. You'll add the interest to the principal. What is the previous principal? 1 lakh 5,000. You'll add 5,250 to it, making it 1,10,250. And similarly, you will do the third calculation. Okay. All right. Now, in the examination, this is not how you will solve it. Okay. Don't be scared. Oh, I have to do so many things. No. You have a very basic formula. We'll use that formula. But the reason why I'm giving this in an elaborated manner is because I need to explain a few things to you all. What is that? Now, if you observe carefully, can I say total compound interest is always greater than simple interest? Total compound interest. Here you got 21,000. Here you got 21,550. Total compound interest is greater than simple interest. Correct? What was simple interest? 20,000. But there is a small thing that you need to understand here. What is that? If you observe carefully, in the first example under compound interest, okay, in the first instance, that is year 1, in the first instance, year 1, simple interest and compound interest are equal to each other. Okay. And when you come to example 2, semi-annual compounding, here also only in the first instance, that is for 6 months. Depending on the compounding, we'll tell the first instance, right? If it is annual, it is 1 year. Semi-annual is for 6 months. Simple interest and compound interest are equal to each other. What does this mean? This means that the first computation that you do, okay, the first computation, when interest is not added to the principal, simple interest and compound interest are equal to each other. Okay, how do you put this in words? In a sentence form, I can say that compound interest is always higher than simple interest, except for the first interval of time. What is this first interval of time? The first interval of time is dependent on the compounding. If it is annual, then 1 year. If it is semi-annual, then 6 months. There is something called as quarterly, once in every 3 months. Quarter is 3 months. Once in every 3 months. So for the first 3 months, then you have something called as monthly, once in every month. So first month. Then you have something called as weekly, once in every week. There are how many weeks? 52 weeks in a year. And then you have something called as once every day. 365 days is what we consider. Leap year is not considered here. Okay. So what are we trying to understand here is simple interest and compound interest, the relation between them. Compound interest is always higher than simple interest, except for the first interval of time. First interval of time is dependent on the compounding. I hope this is clear. Yes. Okay. Quickly put thumbs up if it's clear, or if you have any doubts, you can ask so that we can go ahead with the concepts. If you have understood this, then it makes it easier for you to understand the next part of the chapter. Yes, have you understood this? Can I go ahead? Respond. All right. Yes. Okay. Let's understand the first formula here, which is given as amount formula. Okay. In simple interest, we studied the simple interest formula. Here we're studying the amount formula first, which is P into 1 plus I to the power N. Now I understand this I and N is something new. You have studied R and T. Correct? Yes. Let me explain. Give me some time. Let me explain it to you. Just keep it on hold. What is I and N? Okay. What is compound interest? Amount minus principal, right? So amount here is P into 1 plus I to the power N and principal is P. So once you minus them, you will get the compound interest formula. You take this P common, you'll get P into 1 plus I to the power N minus 1. So these are the important formulas from exam point of view. Okay? Yes. All right. Yes. Thank you for the confirmation. Yes. Okay. Now, what is this I and what is N? Let us understand. I means R divided by number of conversion periods. Okay, something new. Wait a minute, I will explain it. And what is N? N is T into number of conversion periods, right? So what is this number of conversion periods? Number of conversion periods is dependent on the nature of compounding. Okay, so what is this? If compounding is done annually, how many times is interest added to the principal? Once a year, correct? So that is your number of conversion periods. Now, if compounding is done semi-annually, that is once in every 6 months, how many times is interest added to the principal in a year? Twice. So 2 is your number of conversion periods. Now, if compounding is done quarterly, what is quarterly? Once in every 3 months. So like that, how many quarters are there in a year? There are 4 quarters. So number of conversion periods is 4. If compounding is done monthly, then every month, so number of conversion periods be 12. If compounding is done weekly, then 52. Compounding is done daily, then 365. So what is conversion periods? Conversion periods is nothing but number of times interest is added to the principal every year. Okay, is this clear? I've given you the table for conversion periods. So if compounding is annual, then conversion is 1. That is, number of conversion periods is 1. If compounding is semi-annual, the number of conversion periods is 2. Quarterly, the conversion periods is 4. Quarter means 3 months. Monthly, it is 12. Weekly, it is 52. And daily, it is 365. Very important from compound interest point of view, which includes the annuity concepts as well. Okay. All right. A few notes which we have already discussed, but let's clearly read it. The first one. The value of compound interest is greater than simple interest, correct? In our examples, we saw. But this excludes the first interval of time. What is this first interval of time? It can be 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 1 week, or 1 day, depending on the nature of compounding. Okay. So what happens with respect to the first interval of time? With respect to the first interval of time, compound interest and simple interest are equal to each other. Okay. Yes. Now, for example, if I say compound interest for 1 year is 50 rupees, that is annual compounding. And if I ask you to find the simple interest for 2 years, this is nothing but 50 into 2. How, if you ask me, 50 rupees annual compounding? What is annual compounding? Interest is added to the principal every year. Okay, so first year, simple interest and compound interest will remain the same. So here, simple interest for year 1 will be 50. And like you know, simple interest will not change for any number of years. So if it is 2 years, then it is 50 plus 50, that is 50 into 2, which makes it 100. Okay. This is how you need to know, and you need to know the concepts behind simple interest and compound interest. All right. Very important next point. This is when nothing is mentioned in the question. About what? About the type of interest. In the question, if it does not specify whether it is compound interest or simple interest, you will always consider it as compound interest, which means if you are supposed to solve using simple interest, it will specifically be given in the question. Okay. And next one is type of compounding, whether it is annual, semi-annual, quarterly, monthly, daily, weekly, whatever. If it is not mentioned, then you will always consider it as annual compounding. Okay. Now, very important. Next one is what happens when it is annual compounding. See, when it is annual compounding, can I say the number of conversion periods is 1? If the number of conversion periods is 1, then I will be R by 1, which is R, and N will be T into 1, which is T. So when it is a case of annual compounding, you can always consider R is equal to I and T is equal to, and this saves a little time for you in the exam. Okay. Next. When all the parameters remain the same, that means interest, the rate of interest, the time, and the principal, then as the compounding increases, your interest will also increase. How, you ask? Come back to the example. Here, example 1, annual compounding. What was the example 1 here? Annual compounding we have, right? What was the total interest? 21,000. Correct? And in semi-annual compounding, what was the total interest? 21,550. Yes, 21,550. So we can understand that here, if the compounding increases, the interest will also increase. So as and when the compounding increases, interest increases because you add the interest to the principal more number of times. Okay. Yes. So when it comes to compounding, annual compounding will always have the lower interest when you compare it with daily compounding. Okay. Yes. Next, small concept of effective rate of interest. Usually a direct question is asked here. Find the effective rate of interest. Now you can see this something different here, multiplied with 100. You might not have seen it in places. So why do I tell you to multiply it with 100? Because you're finding the rate of interest. Okay, and rate of interest is always in percentage. So our I will always be considered after taking R divided by 10. Right? Rate by 100, sorry. Rate by 100. Rate by 100 is what we have done. So to compensate for that 100 divided by 100, you'll have to multiply it with 100 over here. Okay, this is your compound interest. All right, I hope this is clear. Quickly give a OK mark, that is a thumbs up in the chat box. I'll start with the questions of compound interest now. Yes. Sorry, simple interest and compound interest. Once we're done with the questions, we'll come back and do the concepts under annuity. All right. Yes. First question. Now, always read the question carefully. See whether the word simple interest is mentioned or not. In this question, it is mentioned. Okay. What is asked here? A farmer borrowed rupees 3,600 at 15% simple interest per annum. Okay. borrowed. So can I say 3,600 is the principal? Rate of interest is 15%, which I will write it as 0.15. How 0.15? 15 divided by 100. Okay. Per annum. At the end of 4 years, he cleared the account by paying 4,000 and a cow. 4,000 rupees and a cow. Okay. He had to pay some amount. So to pay that amount, he paid 4,000 rupees plus he gave a cow. Now to find the cost of the cow. Okay. To find the cost of the cow, you need to know how much the farmer should have paid, right? Okay. That means you have to find the amount, right? Okay. We'll simply calculate the simple interest first. If you calculate the simple interest, you add the principal to it, you'll get the amount. So what is the formula to calculate simple interest? It is P into R into T. What is P here? 3,600. What is R? 0.15. And what is the time? The time is given as 4 years. So into, okay. So 3,600 into 0.15 into 4. What do you get the answer as? Please calculate with me. You get the interest as 2,160. This is your simple interest. What is the amount that the farmer is supposed to pay? It is principal plus simple interest, correct? Which is 3,600 plus 2,160. That makes it a total of 5,760. This is the amount that the farmer was supposed to pay. But he did not pay the full amount. What did he do? He paid only in cash, he paid 4,000. And then the remaining balance, he gave a cow, which means the cost of the cow is 1,760. I hope this is clear. Yes, correct, Trisha. 2,160 is the simple interest. For that, you need to add the principal, which gives you the amount. And for that, you have to minus 4,000, which is paid in cash. That gives you the value of the cow. Yes. This was asked in December 22 attempt. See, the type of question that they ask. It's not difficult. It's just that you need to understand what is given in the question. All right. Moving on to the next question. If a sum of money becomes 15,000 in 5 years and 18,000 in 8 years. Okay. So here we will draw a timeline. Why are we drawing a timeline? That we know we have different time periods here. So it makes it easier for us to solve, correct? Yes. So 15,000 in 5 years time and 18,000 in 8 years time. Okay. So here 15 has become 18 because, can I say interest is added? Interest is added. So how much is that interest? 18,000 minus 15,000. That makes it 3,000 total. Correct? Yes. Everyone. The rate of simple interest is given in the question. Is this clear till here? Now, if the total simple interest is 3,000 for 3 years, total simple interest is 3,000 for 3 years, can I say simple interest per year is 3,000 by 3? That is 1,000. Now, what you need to do is reverse calculate. From year 0 to year 5. How many years are there? There are 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So interest per year is 1,000. That means interest for 5 years will be 1,000 into 5. That makes it 5,000. Okay. 1,000 into 5. That makes it 5,000. Now reverse calculate. 15,000 and here 5,000 is the interest, which means that the opening value, that is the principal, is 10,000. Okay. Now there's only one option with 10,000. But don't jump into conclusion that that is the final answer, because there is another parameter that you need to check, that is the rate of interest. Just because 10,000 satisfies doesn't mean that the other value should also satisfy. So you have to be careful there. So what do you need to do? You have to check whether both the values satisfy or not. Okay, let's check. What is option C? Principal 10,000, rate of interest 0.1, that is 10%, correct? And let us consider time as 1 year. So if you consider the time as 1 year, what should the interest be? The interest should be equal to 1,000, right? Yes, because the interest for 1 year is 1,000. We got it in the solution there. Okay. So let's calculate the simple interest, which is P into R into T. 10,000 into 0.1 into 1, which is 1,000. Which means that option C is. You can use the option and also get the solution. That will also give you the correct answer. Is this clear till here? Let's go to the next question. If the difference between interest received by two persons A and B on the same sum of money of, there is a difference in the interest. Okay. Principal is 1,500 for 3 years. Okay. Difference is given as 18. Correct? Then what is the difference between the two rates of interest? Okay. It's a simple question. You don't have to complicate it. Simple. Do this. Principal into difference in rate into time is equal to difference in interest. As simple as that. So what is the difference? Only the rate. The two sum of money, rate is the difference. Correct? So you have to just take the difference in the rate. You will get the difference in the interest. Now you have three things here. Principal, you know. Difference in rate is what you are finding. Into time is equal to 18. Sorry, time we know, which is 3 years. Now simply calculate this. You take 1,500 to the other side and 3 also to the other side. What do you get? 18 divided by 1,500 divided by 3. So you get difference in rate as 0.004. Now remember this. I told this to you in the previous instance also, that whenever we are calculating rate, you always have to multiply it with 100. So what is the rate difference in rate here? 0.4%. Very good, Pratiksha. Option B. Yes. I hope this is clear. So when there is one of the parameters that is difference, you can just apply this particular logic and solve. Only one parameter. If it is 2, you can't apply this logic and solve. You have to consider it separately and then get the answer. Okay, next question. I remember this being asked in one of the attempts, and my students came to me saying that there was a question where equation was there and time value was there. Yes, it is possible. Why is it not possible? It is possible to solve. The only thing is you have to be careful with your concepts. So if you have revised the concepts very clearly and very carefully, this question is very simple to solve. What is given here? It's given if simple interest, if the principal is 2,000, P is equal to 2,000. And the rate and time are the roots of the equation. Okay. What is the equation? Correct? Principal is 2,000. Rate and time are roots of the equation. So you have to consider the equation, find the roots, and then consider the rate and time, because we need the interest. To find the interest, we need principal, rate and time. To find the rate and time, we have to find the roots of the equation. Okay, we find the roots of the equation. How do you get the roots of the equation? Very simple. You consider A as 1, B as -11, and C as 30. Correct? Get the roots of the equation quickly. We'll get x is equal to minus of minus 11 b square minus 4ac. Divided by 2a. 11 plus or minus 11 square minus 11 square is plus 121, and minus 4 into 1 into 30 is minus 120. So plus 1 divided by. So can I say the two roots, that is rate, will be 11 plus 1, 12 by 2, 6%, and time will be 11 minus 1, that is 10, 10 by 2, 5 years. Okay, you can consider it alternatively also. Okay, that is time as 6 years and rate as 5%. But I've considered it using the order in which the question has been mentioned. Okay, yes. Keep it like that. It becomes easier. If you consider it vice versa also, you'll get the same answer. There is no difference in the answer. So now what do you have to calculate? You have to calculate the simple interest. So how do you calculate the simple interest? Principal into rate, that is 0.06, into time, that is 5 years. So how much do you get? 2000 into 0.06 into 5, that is 600 rupees. Yes, if you have clearly understood the concept under time value of money and under equations, this becomes easier for you to. All right, moving on to the next question. I hope you are able to understand. The difference between compound interest and simple interest on a certain sum of money invested for 3 years at 6% per annum is 110.16. Now here they have given the difference between compound interest and simple interest, correct? So what is difference between compound interest and simple interest? See, remember this, compound interest is always higher than simple interest, right? Except for the first interval of time. It doesn't matter here because they have said 3 years. First interval of time can be 1 year, maximum 1 year or less than that, correct? Okay, so let's first write down what are the values given. Principal is unknown, rate is given as 0.06 and time is given as years. Okay, now in case of compounding, there is nothing mentioned about the type of compounding. So we will consider it as annual compounding. What do we consider it as? We shall consider it as annual compounding. And if you remember, in case of annual compounding, I is equal to R and N is equal to P. Okay, now two things. Compound interest. What is the formula? P into 1 plus I to the power N minus 1. Simple interest is P into R into P. Substitute. P is P itself. 1.06 to the power 3 minus 1. And simple interest here is P into 0.06 into 3. Yes, by solving this, you get, take 1.06 in the calculator, into is equal to. I hope you know how to solve this. 1.06 in the calculator, everyone. Press into, is equal to. This will give you the cube of 1.06. So if you have to find the power of any number, to any number of times, then you have to press into is equal to. But when you press is equal to, that is equal to should be done 1 less times. Yes, all right. So you get 1.191016 into P, 1.101916 minus 1. So you have 0.191016 P, and here you have 0.18 P. Now, the difference between these two is 110.16. The difference. So we have 0.191016 P minus 0.18 P is equal to 110.16. Yes, solve this. You will get 0.011016 P is equal to 110.16. So to do 110.16 divided by 0.011016, which gives you the answer as principal is equal to 10. Yes, good. Correct answers. 10,000 is correct. All right. Let us go to the next question. A machine depreciates at 10% of its value at the beginning of the year. The cost and the scrap value realized at the time of sale are. Listen carefully. When machine is depreciating, the value reduces. When the value reduces, today's value will be higher and the tomorrow's value will be lower. What is today's value? Today's value is present value. What is tomorrow's value? That is future value. So today's value will be higher and tomorrow's value will be lower. Okay. So in this case, the rate is given as 0.10. Principal is 23,240 and A is 9,000. But when you consider the rate, you will consider it as minus 0.10. Why? Because it is depreciation value is reducing. Okay, you have to find in how many years will the machine is put to use. That means you have to find the value of T. Now, nowhere in the question it has been mentioned that it is simple interest, which means that it is a question of compound interest, right? And nowhere in the question it has been mentioned with respect to the type of compounding, which means that it is annual compounding, which is R is equal to I and T is equal to N. Okay, now what is the formula to find the value of N? We'll use the amount formula. What is the amount formula? P into 1 plus I to the power N minus. So you get 9,000 is equal to 23,240 into 1 minus 0.1 to the power N minus. Okay, first step, 9,000 divided by 23,240, which means 0.3873 is equal to 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9 to the power N minus 1. Shift this one here. You will get 1.3873 is equal to 0.9 to the power N. Next step is take 0.9 in the calculator, press into is equal to, and remember how many times you press is equal to until you get the value at 1.3872. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's not compound interest. It is the amount formula that we have to use, not the compound interest formula. Yes. Yes. Here, compound interest formula, not the amount. Sorry, I've substituted the compound interest formula. I have to substitute the amount formula. So why? Because amount has been given here. So here you have P into 1 plus I to the power N. So you have 0.9 to the power N. Now, 0.9 to the power, how many times is 0.3070? So take 0.9 in the calculator, everyone. 0.9 in the calculator is equal to, into is equal to, into once is equal to, count the number of times where you get the answer as 0.387, correct? That is what you have here. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You pressed is equal to 8 times, which means that the value of N is 9. Because the first time you press is equal to, the first time you press is equal to, the first time that you press is equal to, sorry, the first time that you press is equal to, it is power 2. Therefore, value of N is equal to. Now, because n is equal to t, t will be equal to 9. Very good. Yes, correct answers. 9 years. Okay. All right. If it is a question of semi-annual compounding, right? R would have been considered, I would have been considered as 0.1 by 2. And if you get the answer as, for example, 9, you have divided it by 2, because to find t, n divided by 2 is what you need to do. All right. Let's go to the next one. What is compound interest on a sum of rupees 12,600? Okay. Principal is given as 12,600 for 1.5 years at the rate of 20%. Okay. It's specifically given compound interest. If the interest is compounded half yearly. What is this half yearly? It means semi-annual. Okay. What happens in semi-annual? Number of conversion periods is 2. So n will be t into 2 and I will be r divided by 2. Okay. Is it clear till here? Yes, everyone? Okay. All right. Now you have to find what? Compound interest, and you round it off to the nearest rupee. What is the formula for compound interest? P into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1. Substitute, you'll get 12,600 into 1.2 to the power. Okay, sorry. Here you have to calculate it. We have not calculated n and I. Calculate n. N is 3 and I is 0. Substitute, you'll have 12,600 into 1.1 to the power 3 minus 1. Take your calculators. Calculate 1.1 to the power 3 minus 1 into 12,600. You get 4,170.6. Now they've asked us to round it off to the nearest rupee. That means you round it off to the next value because 0.6 is there. Yes, because 0.6 is there, you round it off to the next value. So the answer is going to be 4171. Yes, option B. Right. I hope this is clear. Okay, before we go to the next question, we have to quickly cover the concepts of annuity. Okay. First of all, what is annuity? When does annuity come into picture? Annuity comes into picture when two things remain the same. What is these two things? The amount that you deposit and the interval of time. What is this now? Okay. Annuity comes into picture when you have more than one sum of money deposited over a period of time. Okay. For example, if you want to deposit 1,000 every month or 10,000 every month, okay, that is when the concept of annuity comes into picture. So what is this annuity? When equal sum of money is being deposited or withdrawn at equal interval of time. When equal sum of money is being deposited or withdrawn at equal interval of time, then we say that there is annuity. So two things are important for an annuity. One, equal sum of money, deposit or withdrawal. Second, equal interval of time. Okay. Now, see this example here. Concentrate on this example. What has happened here? Let's say I've deposited 1,000 every 6 months. Okay, 1,000 every 6 months. So here, every 6 months, I have deposited 1,000 rupees. Correct? Equal sum of money 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and equal interval of time 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Okay, had I not deposited this, 1000, would it be an annuity? Why? Because here the interval of time would have changed. Is this clear? Okay, had I not deposited 1000 and deposited 500, okay, would this be an annuity? No. Why? Because the value is different. So when do you call something an annuity? When equal sum of money is deposited or withdrawn at equal interval of time. Let us take a real life example of annuity. Okay. Have you seen this one person coming to your house? Usually happens in small towns. Okay. One person comes to your house, they collect some money every week or every month, sometimes even every day. Your parents might give them 500 rupees or 1000 rupees every month or every week or every day. Yes. Have you seen this? This is something called as pygmy. Okay. Pygmy deposits, which you make in usually a cooperative society. Same concept is there under other banks, which is called recurring deposit, RD. Now, what happens under RD? Under RD, you deposit an equal sum of money, maybe every day, every week, every month. That depends on what frequency you choose. So, this is your real life example of annuity. Okay. Repayment of loan. If you borrow a loan today, you have to repay every month the same value, correct? Equated EMI, equated monthly installments. So you have to repay the same value every month. This is your, okay? Is it clear till here? What is annuity is clear? This is your basic of annuity. So when does annuity come into picture? When equal sum of money is deposited or withdrawn at equal intervals of time. Okay. Now what is these two different examples that I have? See, in the first example, every money is deposited at the end of the interval of time, at the end of 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. But in the second example, money is deposited in the beginning. So this first example is called annuity regular, and the second one is called annuity due. So what is annuity regular? When deposit or withdrawal is made at the end of each interval of time. And what is annuity due? When deposit or withdrawal is made at the beginning of each interval of time. Okay. So we have understood the meaning of annuity. We have understood what is annuity regular and what is annuity due. All right. Yes. Next, moving on to what is this two classifications of annuity, which is present value annuity and future value annuity. Before we get into that, we need to know something. We have this formula, amount is equal to P into 1 plus I to the power n, correct? What is it? Amount is equal to P into 1 plus I to the power n. Here, this principal that you deposit today is nothing but your present value. And this amount that you get in the future is your future value. I'm not using the word annuity here because the word annuity comes into picture only when there is an annuity. Okay, so what is present value and future value? Present value is the value of the money today, and future value is the value of money after some years. Is this clear? Yes. Okay. Now, what is present value annuity and future value annuity? Present value annuity and future value annuity is dependent on one lump sum total value. Now, for example, if you deposit money into a bank, okay, the money gets accumulated, and after some years, you'll get a total value. That is your future value annuity because that lump sum is received in the future. Okay, and if you withdraw money, if you borrow money from the bank, you will get the lump sum today. Correct? The lump sum today, that becomes your present value annuity. Okay, so how do you distinguish what is future value and what is present value? Is based on where the total value is. If the total value is today, then it is present value. If the total value is after some year, then it is future value. Okay, then we have 4 formulas for this. Future value annuity, annuity regular, annuity due. Okay, First, future value annuity regular, which is given as annuity into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I. This an means annuity. Okay. All right. Yes, you know what is you know what is future FVA. FVA means future value annuity. 1 plus I you know, n you know. Okay. And here, future value annuity due or immediate is given as annuity into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I. This into 1 plus I is nothing but the addition of interest. Okay. Now, present value annuity, again, you have two formulas, one for regular and one for what is present value annuity? Regular is annuity into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power n. And due is annuity into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 plus annuity. Now, I'll explain this particular why is it n minus 1 with the help of a question. Okay. Yes. When we get to the question, I will explain it to you. If you need the notes that we have done yesterday and in today's class, okay, I will share it with the academy. If you need the notes, you can drop in a message in the live chat, okay, so that it can be shared with you all. Okay. Now, important thing, when nothing is mentioned in the question with respect to type of annuity, whether it is regular or due, you will consider it as regular. Okay. Now, if the question mentions number of installments, okay, if the question mentions number of installments, then it is considered as n always, not t. In case of annual compounding, r is equal to I and t is equal to n, which we have already discussed. Next, present value annuity, perpetuity. Now, what is this perpetuity? Perpetuity is when you want the annuity forever. When you want the annuity forever, perpetual, forever. Okay. Now here we have two formulas. One we have without growth, and the other one we have with growth. So when it is without growth, it is annuity divided by I. And when it is with growth, it is annuity divided by I minus G. What is this minus G? The growth rate is to be. Okay. Now here, let's say you need 50,000 monthly. Okay. Forever. Perpetuity means forever. You need 50,000 monthly, which makes it 6 lakhs per year. Rate is 10%. So if it is without growth, the answer is 6 lakhs by 0.1. Okay. But if it is with growth, then present value annuity will be 6 lakhs divided by 0.1 minus 0.6. Okay. Simplify this and you can get the answer. This is with growth and without growth. That is present value annuity, perpetuity. With growth, without growth. Next. Next, you have applications of annuity. 3 applications of annuity: sinking fund, capital expenditure, and leasing. What is sinking? A sinking fund is a fund which is created for a specific purpose. Okay. It is periodic payments which is made to the fund. Okay. Fund is for a specific purpose, right? So in the future, the money is withdrawn from the fund and used for that purpose. Now here I've given you an example. A company requires 5 lakh at the end of 4 years from now. Okay. How much should the company deposit every year to accumulate the amount at 10% rate of interest? Okay. So at the end of 4 years, the company needs 5 lakh rupees. Okay. So how much should the company deposit every year to accumulate this 10%? Now, this deposit every year tells us that it is a question of annuity. Okay. Annuity means compound interest. And whenever compound interest is there, you have to identify the nature of compounding or the type of compounding. Since nothing is mentioned, we will consider it as annual compounding. Now, this 5 lakh is what is required at the end of 5 years. That is the total that is required, which means that future value of the annuity is 5 lakh. Okay. Time is 4 years, which is equal to n, and rate is 0.1, which is equal to. Now, by using the future value annuity regular formula, why regular formula? Because it is not given deposit from now. It is not given that it is deposited from now. Okay? Yes. Is this clear till here? All right. So you use the future value annuity regular formula, which is future value annuity into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by. Yes. Okay. By substituting the values, you will get the annuity required every year, which means you will get 5 lakh is equal to annuity into 1.1 to the power 4 minus 1 divided by 0. Okay. Yes. Solve this using the calculator. You just have to solve 1.1 to the power 4 minus 1 divided by 1 and shift it to the other side by dividing. Okay. We'll solve a question. Don't worry. This is your sinking fund. Next one is capital expenditure. Okay. Now, what is this capital expenditure? Capital expenditure or investment decisions. Now, for any business opportunity or a company to purchase an asset or to invest in any business, okay, they have to do some analysis. To purchase an asset or invest in the business, they have to do some analysis. Now, what is this analysis? When you want to spend something, you have to analyze whether it is giving you the benefits out of it. Okay. Now, let's say there's a capital expenditure that needs to be made. That is, there is a machine that needs to be purchased. Okay. So, to purchase an asset comes in and money goes out. Correct? So, today you're purchasing the machine is coming in. Okay. Money is going out. So, today you're spending the money, that becomes your present value of the outflow. Why outflow? Because money is going out. Okay. Now, if you purchase the machine, let us say you'll get some benefits in money, of course. Now, that is your inflow. But that inflow won't happen today. That inflow will happen over a period of time, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. So this inflow is happening over a period of time, right? So that is your inflow, but there you have to calculate the present value. Why? Because let us understand this with the help of an example. Now see. A machine can be purchased for 5 lakhs. The machine will contribute 1,25,000 for the next 5 years. Okay. Assuming that the borrowing cost is 16%, determine whether the machine should be purchased or not. Okay. So what do we need to understand here is, today we can buy the machine at 5 lakh. If you can buy the machine at 5 lakh today, can I say 5 lakh is your outflow? Okay. If you spend 5 lakh today, you will get benefits out of the machine for 5 years. What is this benefit? You will get 1,25,000 benefit every year. Okay. So the total benefit, if you take, it is 6,25,000. If you add this. But this is not what you can compare. Why? Because this 1,25,000 belongs to different time periods. It does not belong to the same time period as 5 lakh. Okay. Then how do we compare? You have to get all these 1 lakhs back to year 0. Only if you get all this 1 lakh back to year 0, that's where you can have a comparison. Okay. How do you get it? We consider the present value of 1,25,000 being the annuity. Okay. How do you calculate it? So you consider the annuity as 1,25,000, time as 5 years, and rate as 0.16. Okay. This is how you will solve. So what is this capital expenditure? You have to make a comparison whether outflow and inflow, present value of outflow is less than present value of inflow, or present value of outflow is higher than present value of inflow. So what is your decision here? If present value of outflow is higher than the present value of inflow, if the present value of outflow is higher than the present value of inflow, then you will not invest. But if it vice versa, then you will invest because it is beneficial. And if it is equal, then it is indifferent. Okay. Yes. Next one is leasing. So what happens in leasing? A leasing is a financial arrangement. So there are two parties, lessor and lessee. Lessor is the owner and lessee is the user of the asset. Okay. What happens in leasing is the lessor purchases the asset and gives the asset to the lessee on lease, for which the lessee will pay lease rentals. Okay. Now, for lessor, purchasing the asset is the outflow, which happens today. And he'll receive the lease rentals in the future, which will happen in the future. Correct? So you will have the outflow, but inflow you will have to compute. What you will have to compute? The present value of the inflow, like how you did under capital expenditure. Okay? So you compare these two. If the outflow is higher than inflow, then you will not invest or not buy, or it's not beneficial. And if it is vice versa, then it is beneficial. Now, come to the point of view of lessee. Okay? Come to the point of view of lessee. Now, for the lessee, okay, for the lessee, it is important for you to understand that if the lessee wants the asset, he has two options. He can purchase the asset or he can take it on lease. If he purchases the assets or takes it on lease, both are outflows. So you have to compare which is the lower outflow, and the lower outflow will be your solution. So if purchasing the asset, the outflow is lower, then you'll go purchase the asset. If paying lease rentals, the outflow is lower, then you'll go under lease rentals. Okay. You have a very simple concept called real rate of return. Okay. We are done with the concepts of annuity and everything. What we have right now is other concepts wherein annuity doesn't fall into picture. That is real rate of return. Now, what is this real rate of return? When I say bank is offering me 10% rate of interest, okay? When I say bank is offering me 10% rate of interest, what I'm not considering is the inflation factor. What we are not considering is the inflation. So what happens here? In inflation, when inflation comes into picture, the rate of return will reduce. So when you consider the inflation of 7%, what you actually get in return is 10% minus 7%, that is 3%. So here, when I say real rate of return, it is nominal rate of return minus the inflation. Okay. Yes. Next one is net present value. What is net present value? Net present value is present value of inflow minus present value of outflow. We have a question. We will compute it. Don't worry. Okay. What is net present value? PV of inflow minus PV of outflow. Okay. So what happens here? We have to determine whether we have to invest or not. So if NPV is greater than 0, that means inflow is higher than outflow, then you invest. And if it is vice versa, then you do not invest. Okay. Now you might ask, what if NPV is equal to 0? Then it becomes indifferent. Okay. Calculate the NPV for a project with an initial investment of 10 lakhs and 5 lakh invested at the end of second year. So you have two investments made here, two outflows. One is 10 lakhs and one more is 5 lakhs. 10 lakhs at year 0 and 5 lakhs at the end of year 2. See, I've written it here. 10 lakhs and 5 lakhs. Okay. Next, the net cash inflows for year 1, year 2 and year 3 are 8 lakh, 4 lakh and 12 lakh respectively. Okay. 8 lakh is the inflow for year 1, 4 lakh is the inflow for year 2 and 12 lakh is the inflow for year 3. I hope it's clear till here. Okay. The cost of capital of the company is 12%, which means rate of interest is 0.12. That can be considered as I. Okay. Now, here annuity cannot be used. Why? Because the values are different here. So what do? Find the present value. Okay. See now. To get the amount, it is P into 1 plus I to the power n. So can I say if you have the amount, it is amount divided by 1 plus I to the power n is equal to P. So whatever A values you have, that needs to be divided by 1 plus I to the power n. Now, see here. The first inflow is 8 lakhs. So 8 lakh divided by 1.12 to the power 1. Next inflow is 4 lakhs, that is at year 2. So 4 lakh divided by 1.1 to the power 2. And next inflow is 12 lakhs. So 12 lakhs divided by 1.1 to the power 3. Okay. Now next, outflow minus 10 lakhs. Why do you do minus 10 lakhs and not divided by anything? Because 10 lakhs is at year 0. That means it is already at its present value. Is this clear? Yes. And lastly, we have one more outflow which is at year 2. That is 5 lakh divided by 1.1 to the power. Okay, this is clear. Take out your calculators, everyone. We will apply m plus to find the answer for this. Okay. What is the first one? Whenever you use m plus m minus, see that m is not there in the calculator. 8 lakh divided by 1.1 is equal to m plus, because you have to consider it as positive value. Next you have 4 lakh, correct? 4 lakh divided by 1.1 to the power 2, which means you have to press is equal to twice, divided by is equal to twice, correct? M plus. Next you have 12 lakhs divided by 1.12 to the power 3, so is equal to twice, 1, 2, 3, m plus. Okay. Next you have 10 lakhs, so press 10 lakhs in the calculator and consider it as m minus. Next you have 5 lakhs, 5 lakh in the calculator divided by 1.1 to the power 2, so is equal to twice. Now m minus, because that is outflow. Once you're done with all the totals, you have to press MR. See, that is recollection of the memory that you have, which means you'll get the answer as 4,88,703. Okay, which means that the net present value is positive. How do you know it is positive? It is 8 lakh divided by 4 lakh divided by 12 lakh divided by minus those two values. You have got the net present value as positive value, which means that NPV is greater than 0. Hence, you will invest. Okay. Yes. Now, valuation of a bond is similar to what we have done in the previous case, NPV itself. Okay. Calculation is very similar. Just that you need to know what is the value of a bond, which I will help you understand with the help of an example. So here, valuation of a bond, again, outflow greater than inflow, do not purchase, and outflow is less than inflow, then purchase. Okay. CAGR is one formula, but I would not suggest you to use the formula. I would suggest you to use the options and solve. Okay. I'll teach you how to use the option and solve in CAGR. Okay. Now, if you have any doubts, kindly quickly put it up on the chat box so that we can clarify it and then continue with the remaining questions. Okay. All right. Question number 8. Govinda's mother decides to gift him rupees 50,000 every year, starting from today. From today, very important. Why? From today means due. Okay? Due. How much is Govinda's mother gifting him? 50,000 starting from today. And this is happening every year for 5 years. Okay. So can I say annuity is 50,000? Time is 5 years. And gets 10% rate of compounded annually. Okay. So we know that this is a case of annual compounding where T is equal to N and R is equal to I. So make it a point that you write annual in the side. It's easier for you to calculate. Okay. Yes. All right. Now, what is the present value of this T? What is the present value of this T? Okay. Now we have a formula, present value annuity due formula. Why do we use due formula? Why are we using due formula? Because here they have given starting from today and they have asked you the present value specifically. What is the present value annuity due formula? Present value annuity is equal to 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power n minus 1. This is your formula. Okay. Now substitute, you'll get into 1.1 to the power 4 minus 1 divided by 0.1 into 1.1 to the power 4. Okay. Take out your calculators. We'll solve this in one step. Just one step. Okay. Start with 1.1 to the power 4. Yes. Minus 1. Sorry. 1.1 to the power 4. Now take this to the memory. M plus. Why? Because that is there in the denominator. 1.1 to the power 4 is there in the denominator. Minus 1 divided by 0.1. Okay. Divided by, recollect the memory and press is equal to. Into 3,000. You get 1,58,000. 1,58,493. But for this, you have to add annuity. Why do we add annuity to this? Because, why do we add annuity to this? Because, listen carefully, the first installment here, this 50,000, which is the first installment, is already at its present value. Remember, when I gave you the formula, I told you, why are we minusing 1 from here? We are minusing 1 because the first value is already at its present value. So that will not be calculated and that will not be considered here in this particular form. So plus annuity, which is 50,000. The final answer is 2,08,000. There's a small change that you need to make here. This is 2 lakh and this is also 2 lakh. Okay. There's a printing mistake there. So the final answer is 2,08,493, which is option B. Okay. Is this clear? Remember, when you're finding present value annuity, it is always n minus 1. Why? Because the first deposit that you make is already at its present value. So you just have to add it afterwards. Okay, next. Suppose you decide to make a systematic investment plan in a mutual fund with 1 lakh every year from today. For the next 10 years, where you get a return 10% per annum compounded annually, what is the future value of this annuity? Okay, this can be done as homework. I'll just explain how to solve it. You're depositing 1 lakh every year. So can I say annuity is 1 lakh? So how many years? 10 years. What is the rate of return? 10%. Compounded annually. So T is equal to N and R is equal to I. And in fact, nothing is mentioned about the nature of annuity. That means it is annuity regular, which is at the end of the interval of time. You use future value annuity regular formula, get the answer for this. Okay. Yes, I think this can be done on your own. Let's go to the next question. Mr. Sharad got his retirement benefits amounting to rupees 50 lakhs. He wants to receive a fixed monthly sum of amount for the rest of his life, starting from 1 month and thereafter. Starting after 1 month, that means at the end of the month. And thereafter, he wants to pass on the same to the future generation. Now, this is your understanding. From here, you need to clearly analyze and understand that pass on to the future generation, and when time is not given, it is present value annuity perpetuity. So this Mr. Sharad is receiving 50 lakhs today. That is present value. And he wants to get payments in such a way that he gets the payments forever, which is perpetuity. Okay. So present value annuity perpetuity comes into picture here. So here our present value annuity perpetuity calculation, we have 50 lakhs for the rest of his life starting from regular. Okay, that is clear. What is the rate of interest? 0.09. Compounded annually. Okay. But this he wants after every month. Okay. Annuity he wants every month. Yes. Annuity he wants every month. Okay, so what you need to do here is, okay, first of all, you need to find out what is I, because annuity he wants every month. So number of conversion periods will be 12. What will be I, which is 0.09 divided by 12. So what is 0.09 divided by 12? 0.0075. Correct? So you get 50 lakhs present value annuity is equal to annuity divided by I, because there is no growth. So 50 lakhs is equal to annuity divided by 0.0075. Multiply this, you'll get the annuity as 37.5. Option C. Okay. Yes. Next question. Okay. This is a question of CAGR. Okay. So here, like I told you, I would suggest you to use the options, direct options. Don't use the formula. Why? It's easier to solve it using the options. The rate of interest is given. Rate of CAGR is given. We just have to substitute. Okay. CAGR is nothing but an equal rate for all the values of different time periods. Now here, can I say year 1 is the base? To calculate the CAGR, base year is 1. So the number of years is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Yes. So what you need to do is simply take 90 in the calculator. 90 is the base year value. First value option is 9%. Add 9% to this. You'll get 98.1. Again, add 9% to this. Third time, fourth time, and fifth time. When you add 9% 5 times, you should get 157 approximately. Okay, 157. Do you get 157? No, which means that option A is not your answer. Go to option B, 12%. Start with 90 plus 12%. Again 12%, second time. Again 12%, third time. 12% fourth time. 12% fifth time, which gives you approximately 158. Okay, and here in the answer, it is 157.35. Now, it is something very close to 12, but not exactly 12. But the only option available with us is 12%. If you go to 11, just check with 11. We'll check with 11 because 11 is lesser than 12. Now. Quickly check with 11. No, you get very less. I think you get 151.65. Just check. Yes, which is very far from that. So it is definitely option B. So CAGR, this is how I would recommend you to solve. All right. Yes. I hope you're able to understand. There are no messages on the live chat. So I feel that you have been able to understand. If not, kindly ask your doubts. And if you're able to understand, please drop a message on the chat box, thumbs up or yes, whatever it is. However you find it comfortable, please do it. Yes, 11 you get 151.65, correct. But that is very far from 157. 158 is closer. Therefore, we'll go to option B. This is one easiest way in which you can solve the CAGR question. Okay. Next one is you have to find the net present value here. You have to find the net present value. We have already done a question. We have done an example question of net present value. Okay. With the help of that explanation, I think you can solve this on your own. Please take it up as homework. Kindly take a screenshot here quickly. So you can solve it as homework. In the evening session, we can clarify this. Okay. All right. Yes. I had told you that with respect to bond, I will explain you with the help of a question whether you have to purchase the bond or not? So this is the question. So what is given here is an investor intends purchasing a 3-year rupees 1000 par value bond. Now what is this par value? Par value means face value. Okay, what is par value? Par value is face value having nominal interest rate of 10%. Okay, so face value of the bond is 1000. Interest rate of bond. See, bonds are nothing but similar to debentures. Okay, so on the debentures, on the face value of the debentures, you get interest. Similarly, on the face value of the bond, interest will be 1000 into 10%, that is 100 per year. See, this interest is received irrespective of the fact whether you purchase it at 1000, more than 1000 or less than 1000. Okay, the value of interest is not dependent on the purchase price. It is what is the face value or the par value of the bond. Okay, purchase price is 850. Okay, what is this? So if you're purchasing the bond today, you have to pay 850 rupees. If you pay 850 rupees, you will get 100 rupees every year till it matures. And it has been told that the maturity is at par. So maturity is at 1000. Okay. And they have told us that the investor requires a rate of return of 14%. So R is 0.14, which is equal to I because this is annual. Hope this is clear till here. Okay. Now, today you will purchase the bond at 850. What are you doing? You're purchasing the bond at 850 today, which is outflow. If you purchase the bond at 850 today, year 1 you will get 100 rupees. Year 2 you will get 100 rupees. Year 3 you will get 100 plus 1000. That is 1100. How is that? Because it matures at the end of 3 years. So at the end of 3 years, you will get the interest on the bond plus the maturity value. Now, by using how we did under NPV itself, you have to find out whether the bond is beneficial or not. That is positive value or negative value. So 850 is minus 850 here for us, plus 100 divided by 1.1 to the power 1, plus 100 divided by 1.14 to the power 2, plus 1100 divided by 1.14 to the power 3. Okay, because this is what you will receive every year. Take your calculators now. First you have 850, which is negative, so M minus. Next you have 100 divided by 1.14 is equal to, which is M plus. Next you have 100 divided by 1.14 to the power 2, which is again M plus. Next you have 1100 divided by 1.14 to the power 3. Again M plus. Total done. Now recollect the memory. You will get 57 rupees. So can I say it is beneficial to purchase the bond? Yes. Just a minute. 850 is M minus. Then 100 divided by 1.14. M plus. 100 divided by 1.14 to the power 2. M plus. 1100 divided by 1.14 to the power 3. M plus MRC. Yes. All right. Yes. So this is the net present value or the value of the bond after the considering the inflow and the outflow. So can I say purchasing the bond is beneficial? Okay. Yes. With this, we are done with time value of money. Kindly go through all the concepts once. And if you need the notes, kindly drop a message in the chat box, please. Yes. Okay. Let's quickly go to sequence and series, arithmetic and geometric progressions. Okay. Now here, sequence and series, arithmetic and geometric progressions. First one, let's understand what is a sequence. To understand the sequence, what we need to do is, first clearly we have to get the answers for these examples. Okay. Now here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the missing number here? 6. How did you get it as 6? 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, and 4 plus 1, 6. Can I say the rule is plus 1 here? Go to the next example. 2, 4, 8, 16. What should be the next answer? 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 2, 8, 8 into 2, 16, 16 into 2, 32. So can I say here the rule is into 2? Yes. Now, third one. 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4. 4 plus 5. No. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6. Plus 4 plus 5. Can I say plus 6? So plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. So 15 plus 6 is 21. So can I say here the rule is plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, and so on. Sorry, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, and so on. All right, what is the next one? We have 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 2, again plus 1. So can I say here the rule is plus 2, plus 1, plus 2, plus 1, and so on. Plus 2, plus 1, plus 2, plus 1, and so on. So what are we trying to understand over here is, here the answer is going to be 9 plus 2, 11. Next, 10, 8, 6, 4. 10 minus 2, 8. 8 minus 2, 6. 6 minus 2, 4. 4 minus 2. So here the rule is minus 2. Next, 81, 27, dash, 3, 1. So 81 divided by 3, 27 divided by 3, 9, 9 by 3, 3, 3 by 3, 1. So can I say here the rule is into 1 by 3. Divided by 3 is nothing but into 1 by 3. I hope this is clear. Okay. What do we need to understand from here? If I say that this is a sequence, this is a sequence, this is a sequence, this is a sequence, what do you take from here? If you clearly observe, all those examples that I've considered as sequence have only one rule. What is that? They have only one rule, which means sequence is a collection of numbers which follows one rule. Now, these two particular examples are not a sequence. Why? Because there are more than one rules. Is this clear till here? So what is a sequence? A sequence is a collection of numbers which follows a definite rule. Okay. Now there are two types of sequence: finite sequence and infinite sequence. Finite sequence where you know how many number of terms are there, and infinite sequence where the number of terms continues till infinity. You can go on writing terms. Now, what is series? Series in very simple words is an expression. Okay? Expression. If the sequence is given as A1, A2, A3, A4, and so on, then the series can be written as A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus till AN. So here, if 1, 2, 3, 4 is the sequence, the series for this will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Similarly, if minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 is the sequence, then without the comma is the series. Okay, next. Once you have understood sequence and series, we can go to arithmetic progression. This sequence is nothing but progression. So arithmetic progression, that is in our words AP, is nothing but a type of a sequence. Arithmetic progression is nothing but a type of a sequence. Okay, like that there are two types: arithmetic progression and geometric progression. Okay, now what is arithmetic progression? If there is a collection of numbers, and this collection of numbers follows a definite rule, then it is a sequence. Now, over and above this, if this collection of numbers satisfies this criteria, what is the criteria? Second term minus first term, third term minus second term, and so on till last term minus the last but one term. They are all equal to each other. Only then it is called a AP. Only then it is called an AP. So what is an AP? An AP is a sequence where the numbers are formed by adding something to the preceding number. AP is a collection of numbers which is obtained by adding a constant term to the preceding term. Now, this constant term is called the common difference and it is denoted with D. It is one of the scoring chapters, AP and GP. This constant term is called common difference and denoted with the letter D. Okay. A few denotions here that you need to know. First is common difference, that is denoted with D. The first term of an AP, which we can represent as A. Okay. It can also be called as T1. T1. Okay. The nth term is denoted as Tn and the last term is denoted as L. Now I want you to understand this. The nth term and last term need not be the same. Now if I say a series has 100 values, 100 terms, and I want you to find the 50th term. So your n will be 50, but the number of terms are 100. So n and last term is not the same. Tn and last term is not the same. This is one thing that you need to understand. Tn and last term is not the same. Okay. So T1 is A, T2 is A plus D. The first term is A. Find the second term. You have to add D to it. To find the third term, you have to add D to the second term and so on, making Tn as A plus n minus 1 into D. So to find the nth term of an AP, you have A plus n minus 1 into D. This is your very important formula to find the value of any term of an AP. Okay, where A is the first term, n is the number of terms, and D is the common difference. All right. Now, next important thing here is the sum of n terms. So what is sum of n terms? Total of n terms. Okay, there are two formulas here. One where D is used and the other one where D is not used. Okay, what is the first formula? Sn is equal to n by 2, number of terms by 2, into 2a plus n minus 1 into D. And the second formula is n by 2 into a plus L, where n is number of terms, a is the first term, D is the common difference, and L is the last term. Okay, arithmetic. Now, this you have studied already in statistics, but here a little very simple basic thing. So if A, B, C are in AP, okay, then we can say that second term minus first term, that is B minus A, is equal to C minus B. By simplifying this, you will get B is equal to A plus C divided by 2. What do you get? B is equal to A plus C divided by 2, which means B is the middle term between A and C. So here, if I say T1, T2, T3. T2 is the middle term. Yes. T1, T5, which is the middle term? What is it? T3. Correct. How do you get this? This is nothing but value of n of first term, value of n of last term divided by 2, which will give you 6 by 2, that is 3. So for any first term and last term that you have, or for any terms, first value, last value, that is the value, which term, which nth term is the middle term, you can use this particular shortcut. So if you have 6th term and let's say 26th term, which is the middle term for this? 6 plus 26. What is 6 plus 26? It is 32. 32 by 2. What is 32 by 2? It is 16. So T16 is the, okay. And this particular middle term concept is applicable in case of geometric mean also. See, listen, I'm not finding the value of the term. To find the value of the term, you need the value of T6 and T26. Okay, we're not finding the value of the term. What we are finding is which term is the middle term. There's a difference. Okay, yes. All right. Now, other than AP, we have something called a special series here. What is this special series? In special series, you have 4 different formulas. Now, out of those 4 different formulas, 2 formulas follow AP and 2 do not. They have been given in the question for us. Sorry, in the material for us, we have to study it. They are called special series. Okay, they're different from AP and GP. They have been given separately. What are they called? They are called special series. All right, first one. Sum of first n natural numbers. Now, what is natural numbers? Natural numbers are nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, sum of first n natural numbers. So, if I say first 4 natural numbers, S4 will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Correct? Yes. What is S4 here? 10. Right? So here my value of n is 4. Why? Because it's first 4 natural numbers. So you have 4 into 5 divided by 2, which is 20 by 2, that is 10. So if they ask you the sum of first 100 natural numbers or first 1000 natural numbers, you will use the value of n as 100 or 1000 as the case may be. Okay. Similarly, you have squares of first 10 natural numbers, which is nothing but 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square and so on. So depending on how many numbers square you have to take, you will consider the value of n. The formula here is given as n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 whole divided by 6. So this formula is applicable in case of squares. Okay. Next you have sum of cubes of. So cubes is 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus. Remember, it is first n. Okay. So 1 should be the first value. So here the formula is square of the first formula, that is n into n plus 1 divided by 2, the whole square. And the last formula is first n odd natural numbers. What is this first n odd natural numbers? It is 1, then 3, then 5, then 7 and so on. So if you find S4 here, you will get 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. How much is that? 1 plus 3, 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. And the formula here is given as n. Okay. So what is n for us? N is equal to 4. Therefore, n square will be 4 square, that is 16. Okay. This is the special series concept. I hope this is clear. All right. Next is geometric progression. Now in arithmetic progression, we subtracted the first term from the second term. In geometric progression, we will divide the second term by first term. So A2 by A1, A3 by A2. Similarly, last term AN by AN minus 1, which is equal to 1. In arithmetic progression, we said common difference. In geometric progression, we will call it common ratio. Okay. Now, if you have the first term, in arithmetic progression, you would have added a d to it. But in geometric progression, you will multiply r, which means if the first term is a, the second term is a into r, the third term is ar square, and so on, where the nth term is a into r to the power n minus 1. A, N, Tn, L, T1, T2, T3, everything remains the same. The only difference is the formulas and the value of D and R. There it is common difference, here it is common ratio. Okay. Now, next is the sum. So to find the sum of n terms of a GP, you have 2 formulas. Okay. One formula is when R is greater than 1, and the other formula is when R is less than 1. So when r is greater than 1, the formula is Sn is equal to a into r to the power n minus 1. And when r is less than 1, the formula is a into 1 minus r to the power n. Okay, this is important to remember. R is less than 1 and r is greater than 1, 2 different formulas. But the problem here will arise when you start getting confused. Where will you get confused? See, remember, the formula is very similar to each other. Only thing is the way it is written. So how can you remember this? Is when r is greater than 1, r comes first in the formula. Remember it that way. Okay, so it is r to the power n minus 1 divided by r minus 1. Remember it like this. Now, you should ask me a question. What is that question? R greater than 1 is there, r less than 1 is there. What about r is equal to 1? What about r is equal to 1? When does it come into picture? When you have a sequence which is 5, 5, 5, 5, and so on. Isn't this r equal to 1? Yes, it is. But r equal to 1 is not applicable. Why? Because it won't satisfy the formula of sum. So when you have a sequence which has the same terms, that is 5, 5, 5, 5 or 6, 6, 6, 6, anything, you will consider it as a AP and not a G. Is this clear? So you solve this using AP. All right? Yes. Okay. Next, you have something called as sum of infinite terms. And this is applicable only when r is less than 1. What is the formula? It is a divided by 1 minus r, infinite, where the value of n is unknown. This can only be found out when r is less than 1. Next, geometric mean. So if a, b, c are in GP, then I can say that a by b is equal to c by b. And by cross multiplying this, you will get b square is equal to ac, which will give us b is equal to root of ac. Here b is the geometric mean between a and c. 2 terms, square root, correct? If it is 3 terms, then cube root. If it is 4 terms, then fourth root. Yes. Okay. All right. Next. Relation between arithmetic mean and geometric mean. Arithmetic mean, geometric mean, relation. You can find for positive values, correct? Yes. So now relation between arithmetic mean and geometric mean. For any two positive quantities, okay? When I use the word quantity itself, it is positive. Even more positive quantities. We can always say that arithmetic mean is always greater than geometric. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Let us say we have 2 and 8. What is the arithmetic mean? 2 plus 8 divided by 2. That is 10 by 2, which is 5. What is the geometric mean? Square root of 2 into 8. That is 2 into 8, 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So can I say arithmetic mean is greater than geometric mean? Yes. Nextly, when the quantities are when the quantities are equal. What do you mean by when the quantities are equal? For example, let's say 2 and 2. What is the arithmetic mean? 2, correct? Yes. And what is the geometric mean? Square root of 2 into 2, square root of 4, which is equal to 2. So can I say arithmetic mean and geometric mean are equal to each other? So when the quantities are unequal, arithmetic mean is greater than geometric mean. And when the quantities are equal, arithmetic mean and geometric mean are equal to each other. Okay? Yes. And the last point is when the terms of the sequence are the same, we will solve this using AP, where the common difference is 0, which I've already explained it in the previous instance. Okay. All right. This is your simple concepts under AP and GP. We will quickly solve as many problems as possible. Yes, I hope this is clear. All right, question number 1. How many numbers between 74 and 25,556 are divisible by 5? Between 74 and 25,556. So when the word between is used, these two numbers are to be excluded, which means you will start with 75 and you will end at 25,555. Okay? Yes, you will start with 75 and you lend at 25,555. I hope this is clear till here. Yes? Okay. Why? Because the word between is used. Similarly, from was used. 74 and the last number would have been considered. Okay. Now what have they told? Are divisible by 5. Are divisible by 5. How do you know whether a number is divisible by 5 or not? It should be ending with 5 or 0. Okay. Can we consider 75? Yes, we can. Is 75 divisible by 5? Yes. Okay. So the first number that is divisible 5 is 75. The next number is 80, 85, and so on. Can I say the last number is 25,555? Yes? Okay. Fine. So now it is very evident that it is AP because the difference after every value is 5. Okay. So this is how you need to remember and need to analyze whether it is AP or GP. Don't jump into conclusion. So A is 75, first value. Common difference is 5 and TN or L is 25,550. You need to find how many numbers. That means you have to find the value of N, for which we will use the TN formula. So what is TN? A plus N minus 1 into B. TN is substituted as 25,555 is equal to 75 plus N minus 1 into. Yes. So first step is you shift this 75 to the other side. So what do you get? 25,555 minus 75. Correct? Next you have into 5 there. So divided by 5 here. Next you have N minus 1. So when the minus 1 comes to the other side, it becomes plus 1. The answer that you get is N is equal to 5097. I hope it is clear. How did you solve this? First you got this 75 here. So minus 75. Okay. Then you divided by 5. Yes. So you got 5096. Then this minus 1 came to the other side as plus 1. So this is how you would solve it. So the answer is 5097. This type of a question has been asked in many attempts. Right. Okay. Next. If the 4th, 7th and 10th terms of a GP are, 4th term is given as P, 7th term is given as Q, and 10th term is given as R. You have to find the relation. Okay. First of all, you have to figure out if 7th term is in between 4 and 10. In between means what? The middle term. Okay. Not just given in between. No. The middle term. How do you find whether T7 is the middle term or not? Simple. Value of N of the first term, which is 4. Value of N of the last term, which is 10. Add these two. Divide this by 2. It's not arithmetic mean. It is finding the middle term. 4 plus 10 divided by 2. 14 by 2 is 7. Which means that 7th term is the middle term. 7th term is the middle term. And you know that if a term is the middle term, the square of the middle term is equal to the product of the first and the last term. That means here we will get Q square is equal to P into option C is your answer. Yes, I hope this is clear. This is what I was trying to explain when we did arithmetic mean, correct? I told you with respect to middle term, it's not finding the value of the term. It is finding which term is the middle term. This is a shortcut. Otherwise, you have to apply AR to the power 3, AR to the power 6, and AR to the power 9, which is not required to be done over here. Okay. In a GP, 5th term is 27. T5 is equal to 27. 8th term is 729. You have to find the 11th term. Okay, I think you can solve this. You'll consider this as AR to the power 4 is equal to 27 and this as AR to the power 7, which is equal to 729. You have to find the 11th term, which means you have to find AR to the power 10. You can solve this. Okay. Let us keep this as homework. We will discuss it in the next session. Okay. Yes. All right. Next question. The first and the last terms of an AP. Be very careful when you read the question, whether it is AP or GP. Okay. First and the last term. So A is equal to 5 and L is equal to 905. Sum of n terms of the AP is 45,955. Then the number of terms are. So A is given, L is given, Sn is given. You have to find the value of n. We'll use the Sn formula. Which formula of Sn will we use? We'll use the second formula, which has L, n by 2 into A plus L. Substitute. You will get 45,955 is equal to n by 2 into 5 plus 905. Correct? Yes. You can simply do this. 5 plus 905. So 910 divided by 2 is 455. Correct? Yes. Now what you can do is you can simply shift this 455 to the other side, divided by. Correct? Yes. So you get 45,955 divided by 455. That is 101. So n is equal to 101. Yes, I hope this is clear. Okay. If the sum of n terms of an AP is 2n square, that means Sn is given as 2n square. The fifth term is, you have to find what is the value of T5. Okay, how will you solve this? This is one nice question. See, here Sn is given as 2n square, right? Now, if you consider n as 1, you will get S1. S1 is nothing but sum of first term. S1 is nothing but sum of first term. Sum of first term is nothing but the first term. Sum of one terms is what? Nothing but the first term, right? So this is nothing but T1, which is equal to A. So you get 2 into 1 square, which is 2. Okay. Now, to get the common difference, let us find the second term. To find the second term, you have to find S2. Only if you find S2, you can find the second term. So S2 would be T1 plus T2. That is 2 into 2 square. 4 into 2, 8. Correct? S2 would be 8. Okay. This is S2. Remember, this is S2. So T1 plus T2 is 8, which gets that T1 is 2 plus T2 is 8. That means T2 is equal to 6. Now, if T1 is 2 and T2 is 6, then can I say common difference D is 4? Common difference D is equal to 4. Correct? Is this clear till here? All right. Now, once you get the common difference, we know that it's the question of AP. So you can directly get the values. Common difference is 4. You have to find the fifth term. T5, which is A plus 4D. That is 2 plus 4 into 4. 2 plus 4 into 4, that is equal to 18. So what is your fifth term? It is equal to 18. Oh, all right. Question number 6 can be done as homework. Quickly take a screenshot. Okay. Question number 7. We'll quickly finish this. We have a few questions. We'll finish it off 5 minutes. Okay. Yes. So here they have asked us the sum of the series. If you observe this very carefully, as it is given in the question, it does not follow a GP. So what you have to do here is observe this very carefully. There are two sequences here. The first one is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 cube and so on. And the second one is 1 by 3 square plus 1 by 3 to the power 4 plus so. Okay. So here you get A as 1 by 2 and R as 1 by 2 square, which is 1 by 4. And here you get A as 1 by 9. Okay. And R is also 1 by 9 because 1 by 3 square, correct? 3 square into 3 square is 3 to the power 4. I hope it is clear till here. Okay. Now that you've got A and R, you can find S infinity. What is S infinity? A divided by 1 minus R. Here also S infinity is A divided by 1 minus R. So once you simplify this, you will get 1 by 2 divided by 3 by 4. Simplify this, you will get 2 by 3. And here you will get 1 by 9 divided by 8 by 9. When you simplify this, you will get 1 by 8. 9 gets cancelled, so 1 by 8. Okay. Now you have to add these two because they have asked you the total of this. So when you add these two, you will get 2 by 3 plus 1 by 8. That is 24 in the denominator. Numerator is 8 2s are 16, 3 1s are 3. So 19 by 24. This is your answer. Okay. All right. We have 3 more questions. One will be homework. So 2 more, we'll quickly finish it. Sum of the series up to n terms. So what you need to do here is, okay, what you need to do here is, you simply have to assume the value of n as 2. If you assume the value of n as 2, okay, you should get S2 as 0.8 plus 0.88. What is the total? 0.8 plus 0.88 is 1.68. Okay. So which option will give you the answer as 1.68? That becomes your answer. Okay. See option A. Option A is 8 by 18 into 9 to the power n, which is 2, minus 1 plus 10 to the power minus. Simplify this and see whether you get the answer as 1.68. If not, you will go to the next option and the next option and see whether you get the answer as 1.68. Okay. To solve this, we will discuss it in the coming session. Question number 9 is pretty easy. It can be done as homework. You have to find two numbers whose arithmetic mean is 50 and geometric mean is 48. Pick the option, find arithmetic mean and find geometric mean. You'll get the value. Last question. It's given A, B, C, D are in GP. B minus C the whole square, C minus A the whole square plus B minus B the whole square is equal to. In such type of a question, I would recommend you to assume values for A, B, C, D. Simple. It's given that they are in GP. So I'll consider 1, 2, 4 and 8. 1, 2, 4, 8 is in GP, no? 1 into 2, 2, 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 2, 8. So now what is B minus C the whole square? It is 2 minus 4 the whole square, correct? Minus 2 the whole square, that is plus 4, plus C minus A the whole square, that is 4 minus 1 the whole square, 3 square, that is 9, plus D minus B the whole square, that is 8 minus 1 the whole square, correct? What is 8 minus 2, B, no? 8 minus 2, 6. 6 square. 6 square is 36. So 4 plus 9, 13. 13 plus 36 is 49. So now you have to check which of these options will give you the answer as 49. Pick option A. A minus B. A is 1, B is 2. Whole square. 1 square. This is 1 itself. Correct? So can I say option A is incorrect? Now pick option B. What is option B? A minus D the whole square. A minus D the whole square. What is A here? 1. What is D? 8. So 1 minus 8 the whole square is minus 7 the whole square, which is equal to 40. So can I say option B is your answer? Yes, option B is your answer. Okay. I hope it is clear. Yes. I hope that you've been able to learn something today and you're going home with a clear mind. Yes. If you have any doubts, you can drop in. Yes. All right. Thank you. I'll see you at 6 today. We'll continue with permutations and then set and then calculus. Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.